CFTO-TV, Channel 9 in Toronto, Cable 8. Night Beat News with Bill Hutchison and Jennifer Ward.
Good evening. Jennifer Ward is off this evening. Canadian industrialist E.P. Taylor has died at the age of 88. Born in Ottawa, Edward Plunkett Taylor formed the Brewing Corporation of Canada in the 1930s, and after the Second World War, he formed the giant Argus Corporation. But Taylor's first love was thoroughbred horse racing. His horses won 9 Queen's Plates, and his most famous horse, Northern Dancer, won the Kentucky Derby in 1964. E.P. Taylor dead at the age of 88. Metro Police are investigating a triple stabbing tonight. The incident occurred in a restaurant on Queen Street West at about 10:30. 3 people were stabbed. They have been taken to hospital for treatment. It's believed the stabbings occurred during a fight. No other details are available at this time. House framers in Metro have accepted a new contract and will be back to work tomorrow, ending a 2-week strike. But as CFTO's Austin Delaney reports, the return to work may not last very long.
A little over 500 of the 2,500 Laborers International Union members voted only 57% in favor of accepting the 2-year contract. It will see hourly paid framers get a 14% wage hike over the 2 years, piece workers a 21% increase. But today, not everyone at the meeting was pleased with the terms of the contract. Bruno Regal says even the negotiating committee was split.
Given the obscene profits that the builders have been making over the last 2 years, we were really hoping for a better settlement.
Piece workers, who represent about half the union, are not happy with the deal at all. They wanted extra money for more complicated and dangerous work. They also wanted construction site conditions improved so they could work faster. But union spokesman Michael Riley says there is a chance this deal could get thrown out, and frame workers who are going back to the job site tomorrow could be back off the job by Wednesday.
There's that possibility. The employers have to ratify the contract themselves yet, and if they turn it down, I would assume that they would probably lock us out at that point.
The contractors meet for a vote Tuesday evening. As well, if they do turn it down, the Toronto Home Builders Association may shut down the entire industry. Last week, the association threatened to do just that if this dispute is not settled by Tuesday. Austin Delaney, CFTO News.
A group of Estonian business managers arrived at Pearson International Airport tonight to begin an East-West exchange. The visit is being called historic. Organizers say it will help open the way for more joint business ventures between Canada and the Soviet Union. 28 business people from Estonia will spend 3 months in this country learning about capitalism. In October, Canadian business people will spend 10 days in the Soviet Union learning about Estonian culture and legal aspects of doing business with the Soviets. This is the pilot project for a group called the East-West Exchange. One official called the USSR the largest untapped market. It's estimated there could be $150 billion worth of pent-up purchasing power there. Over 400 people gathered on the Peace Bridge this afternoon in Niagara Falls. They were taking part in the 12th annual Mother's Day Walk of Life. The anti-abortion activists came from both sides of the border. They were calling on the Canadian and the American governments to introduce tough new laws prohibiting abortions. The Canadian law was struck down in 1988 by the Supreme Court, while the U.S. Supreme Court is now deliberating a case which could overturn the precedent set in the Roe versus Wade case from the early 70s. That case made abortion legal in the U.S. Part of today's event included dropping red roses into the Niagara River. The head of Canada's largest women's group charges that right-wing government policies are eating away at progress made by the feminist movement. Lynn Kay says she's concerned about the future of the women's movement in this country. We get more from Terry Marcotte in Ottawa.
They have been the hand turning the wheels of change. Generations of women who fought for a new place in society. There have been landmark victories along the way, beginning with the right to vote 70 years ago. But momentum that picked up in the 70s and 80s as more women joined the workforce may be in jeopardy. Now, as the National Action Committee on the Status of Women holds its final annual meeting of the 1980s, there is real concern about the future.
It's always been hard to be a feminist.
The president of the group sees the federal government as the main attack on feminists.
We see a breaking of promises. We were told that right after the election, the government would embark upon a national child care strategy, and now they've just pulled all the money out from child care.
But the concerns go much deeper than child care. Women at the conference see a shift to the right that could plunge more women, especially single parents, into poverty. Karen Morehouse works at a shelter for battered women in Ottawa. She says women are still not treated fairly in the workplace, and she complains women are still too often victims of sexual assault. For the situation to be better, when her daughter is an adult, she says women now can't sit back.
People falsely assume that the women's movement has done their work and that it's over, but certainly it is not over.
So as the 90s approach, there are concerns about a shift to the right, that women are now preparing to fight. There are fears that if women don't mobilize now, many of the gains made over the past few decades could be in jeopardy. Terry Marcotte, CJOH News.
An unfortunate accident has left some red faces at a Scarborough car wash. A compact car was out of gear and without a driver when it came out of the car wash late this afternoon. There was no one around to stop the vehicle, so it just kept rolling along. It rolled across Progress Avenue, through a fence, and over an embankment into Highland Creek. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Centenary Hospital held its 7th annual run today. Billed as the Centena Run, the 5 and 10 kilometer races were held to raise money for the purchase of an isolette for the hospital's neonatal intensive care unit. The isolette is important in the care of premature and sickly babies. Close to 3,000 babies are born at Centenary Hospital each year. Over 500 of them require care in an isolette. Today's run was held at the Metro Zoo. Mother's Day is traditionally the day when you're expected to spoil your mom. But for one Brampton mother, it was the usual hectic pace, keeping up with her 3-year-old quadruplets. CFTO's Susan Belton reports.
Elaine Sturck is one busy mom. She has 5 children, all under the age of 5. The quadruplets, 3 girls and a boy, were premature and suffered serious respiratory problems at birth. That's one of the reasons why Mother's Day, however hectic, is a day the Sturcks give thanks for their now healthy children. But what's it like being in charge of such a crew?
Exhausting, exciting, never boring, and I have a great time. But I have had times when I've wanted to run away, but I wouldn't change anything for any money, any time. I'd do it all over again if I had to.
The children constantly vie for Elaine's attention, and giving all the kids their due can be tiring. So while Mother's Day isn't exactly a day of rest, it is a day to take a bit of a break.
It is a bit of a special day. I get some time off. My husband takes over, so I get to go out, but we still work.
For Elaine Sturck, there's nothing as rewarding as motherhood, except perhaps racing her Camaro. Next weekend's family outing is a trip to see Mom and Dad at the track. Elaine is hoping to groom one of the girls as the next Shirley Muldowney. Susan Belton, CFTO News.
Over 30 of the hottest varsity and co-ed cheerleading squads from Ontario and Quebec battled it out at the Harbourfront cheerleading competition today. The teams were scored on variety and difficulty of their tricks, on their timing and precision, and on projection and clarity of voice. Judges were also taking note of enthusiasm and crowd appeal. And it was certainly beautiful weather for cheerleading. We'll have details on the weather coming up in just a minute.
Evolution. Evolution is Molson's Special Dry. It's special because it's brewed longer with a revolutionary dry brew process unique to Molson. It's special because it delivers an upfront taste that starts bold yet finishes clean and refreshing with no aftertaste. It could also be the smoothest beer you've ever tasted. Molson's Special Dry, the evolution of beer.
Dave Lennox. Since 1895, new ideas in heating and cooling. And now, no payments till Labor Day, when you purchase by May 15th.
Congratulations, George. As winner of the prestigious Dave Lennox Award, Applewood Air Conditioning is proud to be one of the largest and best dealers in Canada.
So for sales and service, second to none, the only name you need to know is Applewood.
Attaboy, Dave.
Symbolism. Why do we use symbols? Why do we find a lemon on this bottle of sunlight? Perhaps I can explain with a simple demonstration, using this grease-coated knife. So, this symbol reminds us that sunlight, like the lemon, cuts grease and is therefore money well spent. Now, why do we find a lemon and a wine glass on this box?
With Bell Cellular's new Follow Me roaming, your calls will find you almost anywhere you go. It's all part of our expanded coverage to over 180 cities in Canada and throughout the United States. Bell Cellular, easy come, easy go.
How can we describe New Timberwolf Falls at Canada's Wonderland? Heart-pounding, exhilarating, and very, very wet. Hurry to Shoppers Drug Mart now, and with each $5 purchase, get a $6 Wonderland savings coupon. Ride New Timberwolf Falls, only at Canada's Wonderland.
Well, it was a beautiful weekend for getting outside and enjoying spring. That is, if you were in the metro area. A cold front over Ohio sent clouds and cooler temperatures to much of southern Ontario. However, southeast winds from Lake Ontario kept the sky over metro clear for today. We got up to a high of 16 degrees. The weather office says it will continue to warm up as the week progresses. There's nothing showing up on our radar tonight, so let's skip ahead to the forecast. Overnight, there will be a few clouds, and the low will be 8 degrees or 47 Fahrenheit. On Monday, we can expect much the same as we had today, some sun and some cloud with a high of 17 or 63 Fahrenheit. Tuesday will be another spring-like day with temperature again of about 17. Again, a few clouds. A high-pressure system that's over Manitoba right now will bring some warm air with it, and as it moves into southern Ontario, for Wednesday and Thursday, we can expect sunshine and highs of 22 or 72 Fahrenheit. At present, under a partly cloudy sky, the wind is calm. It's 9 or 48. The barometer is 101.6 and rising. Humidity is 82%. Well, everyone was expecting a good, close hockey game between the Calgary Flames and Montreal Canadiens, and they gave us that tonight.
Yeah, you picked Calgary. Is it because you worked there before?
Partly that, but also I'd like to see Lanny McDonald go home with a Stanley Cup ring after his career is over.
You and the rest of the city of Toronto. It was a good game, Bill. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. After the opening period jitters, the Calgary Flames and Montreal Canadiens gave us what we expected in the Stanley Cup opener at the Saddle Dome tonight. Close checking. 4 goals in the first period, then 1 in the second, and none in the third. The Flames with the bulk of those as they take game 1.
This will undoubtedly be Lanny McDonald's last shot at a Stanley Cup as it was. This was about as long a shift as he had all night. But his teammates played well, though the Canadiens scored the first goal just 2 minutes and 43 seconds in on a power play. Stéphane Richer with a good hard shot, 1-0. The Flames tied it up on a power play of their own. The puck back to the point for Al McInnes. The Flames' leading scorer teed one up and beat Patrick Watt, 6:51, 1-all. The nicest goal of the night here from the Flames off a 3-on-1. With Chris Chelios caught up the ice, Joel Otto to Al McInnes. He lifted it high over a fallen wall. His second goal of the Stanley Cup final made it 2-1. But again, Montreal came back. Off a 2-on-1, Larry Robinson centered the puck. It went in off the skate of Jamie McCowan. At 10:02, it was 2-all. The Flames thought they had their lead here. The puck still loose as it was put into the net, but referee Andy Van Hellemond, on a poor position, couldn't see the puck and whistled the play dead. In the second period, with a game at 2, goaltending at both ends was brilliant. Mike Vernon of the Flames with a great save here. Calgary came up with the only goal of the period off a 2-on-2. Thurin Fleury blew it by Waugh low. 3-2 Flames after 40 minutes. And goaltending took over after that. Waugh here on Colin Patterson, who went around Chris Chelios. And after Fleury gave it away, Mike Vernon came up big on Stéphane Richer to keep Calgary ahead. The last big glove save of the game here. The Flames hung on to win a good first game, 3-2 over Montreal.
In baseball, the Blue Jays trudge home from Minnesota tonight with some changes to make, which should start with the manager. The club displayed a very serious will to just roll over and die at the Metrodome today, and die they did. 13-1, the Twins buried Toronto, sweeping a series for the first time since 1981.
Frank Viola started for the Twins. He hadn't won at home this season. He was 0-5 going in, but he was sharp today with a career-high tying 11 strikeouts. The Twins kicked off the scoring second inning with Kent Herbeck and Gene Larkin on base. Tim Laudner nailed a shot off Mike Flanagan deep to left center field. Over the head of George Bell and off the wall, Herbeck scored, Larkin scored, and Laudner slid into third, 2-0 Minnesota. It was 3-0 when Kirby Puckett came to the plate with Dan Gladden in scoring position.
Puckett, who had 4 doubles yesterday, got another one here. Gladden came in to score. The rout was on. Minnesota led it 4-0. It was 5-1 in the 4th when the Twins added to their lead. Gladden on third base. Gary Gaetti sent a sac fly out to right field. The play at the plate was close, but Gladden, running in to catcher Pat Borders, knocked the ball loose. 6-1 Minnesota at this point. They added 7 more and humiliated the Blue Jays 13-1. Meanwhile, at Anaheim, the California Angels got the jump on the visiting New York Yankees in the 4th inning. With the game scoreless and Bryant Downing at third, Wally Joyner, who has been struggling, lifts it into right. Downing trots home 1-0. The Angels add to that here at the expense of Yank starter Andy Hawkins and center fielder Bob Brower. Ken Howell on base. Kent Anderson delivers a base hit right up the middle. Brower goofs around in center, and Howell scores from second, 2-0. Then with 2 out, Claudell Washington at the plate, he does the same thing, and again Brower has all kinds of trouble. Out in center, it looks like he's laying eggs. Meanwhile, Bill Schroeder has scored from second, and Anderson is charging hard first. He scores when the relay from Steve Sachs isn't even close. 4-0 California. The final stroke from Chili Davis in the 5th as the California Angels down Andy Hawkins and the New York Yankees by a score of 5-0. So the Blue Jays aren't the only ones doing it. The Jays have been swept 5 times so far this season. They are 12-24. Pete O'Brien drove in 3 for the Indians, 8-3 at home to Detroit. Ron Kittle went 4 for 5 for the White Sox by 3 at Baltimore. Chuck Finley and Greg Minton combined to shut out the Yankees 5-0. Brewers won at Oakland by a score of 2-1 today. Jim Presley broke a tie with a double as Seattle won by 1. And Kurt Stillwell singled home the winner in the 10th for Kansas City, 3-2 the final there. In the National League, the Montreal Expos kept pace with the New York Mets, who are battling St. Louis for first place. The Expos were just a game and a half out and home to San Francisco. The Expos were trailing 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning when they got the bats going off starter Mike Krukow of the Giants. Dennis Martinez on 3rd and Tim Raines on 2nd for Andres Galarraga, who buries one into the corner and left field down the line. Martinez scores on the hit and Raines on a throwing error. 2-1 Montreal. Then Tim Wallach scores Galarraga from third base, sending the ball the same way down the line and left. This is also a double, 3-1 Expos. And with the bases loaded and still just 1 out, Krukow walks Mike Fitzgerald. That scores another 4-1 Montreal on 4 runs in the 3rd inning. The Giants climb back into it in the top of the 4th. Candy Maldonado hits his 2nd solo home run of the day off Dennis Martinez. This makes the score 4-2. The Giants managed to get 1 more in the 7th, but that's all as Martinez, Tim Burke, and the Expos hang on to win it 4-3. Full slate in the National 5-hitter through 8 for Martinez. The Expos are 20-17. Luis Salazar's error with the bases loaded sent the Mets a win today. The Reds continue to play well atop the West, now 1.5 games up as San Francisco lost. Oral Hershiser tossed a 2-hitter for the Dodgers, who had lost 3 in a row, 9-0 there. John Smoltz is 6-2 for the Braves, 5-2 at Pittsburgh. And Mike Scott for the 4-hitter for the Houston Astros. They win by a score of 5-1. A great finish to the Memorial Golf Tournament in Dublin, Ohio today, as Fuzzy Zoeller, who led by a stroke going in, and Bob Tway, who was charging, gave us quite the show. Tway began the day 1 off the pace set by Zoeller, but he tied the veteran here on the 13th with a great putt to go 8 under for the tournament. Tway would end the day birdieing 3 of the last 4 holes. This was his approach to the pin on 14 inches away, good for the temporary lead at 9 under par. Fuzzy Zoeller staged his own comeback on the next hole. He needed this putt for a birdie, a great putt on 16, and a tie at 9 under. But Tway would not be put off this day. This is his approach on the 17th. Another perfect shot. And again, just inches from the hole, Tway would birdie this and go to 10 under par. That about did it, but just to make sure on the 18th, leading by 1, Tway buried it with this putt for another bird, 11 under, and the Memorial Tournament for Bob Tway by 2 strokes. On track, Danny Sullivan, who broke his forearm and suffered a mild concussion in a crash training for the Indy 500 on Thursday, is out of hospital now. He'll wear a cast and get back driving maybe by Wednesday. Today, 2 records fell. The first, the fastest track mark in qualifying ever by Al Unser Sr., who came through at an average of 223.471 miles per hour on the first day's run. That only held until later in the day when Rick Mears took to the track. Mears' yellow number 4 Penske Chevy raced through the 4 laps in another record, breaking Unser's 223.885 miles per hour, so Mears is on the pole with Al Unser and Emerson Fittipaldi. Canada's Ludwig Heimrath Jr. made the 6th row, more than 213 miles per hour. Thunder Bay's John Jones made row 9. The rookie clocked more than 214. That's a rookie record. Something you don't see every day came to Exhibition Stadium this afternoon as 2 of the top 3 cricket teams in the world put 20,000 into the seats to watch. CFTO's Stu Bundy was there.
A beautiful sunny day greeted the Indian and Pakistani national cricket teams as they took to a makeshift pitch at Exhibition Stadium. The teams, who are playing a series of one-day exhibition matches across North America, had to become familiar with playing on AstroTurf.
Obviously, it's not the right surface to play cricket on. I mean, cricket is played on turf. But I think it's going to be exciting because it's going to be a very true wicket and tall scoring match, which means that the crowd is going to enjoy it.
The national cricket teams from Pakistan and India are 2 of the best in the world. And this marks the first time either team has ever played in Canada.
We find Indian team working in West Indies, and Pakistan team just finished from New Zealand, and they were sitting home. So I tried, and my other friends in New York, we put them together and bring them up here.
A large, enthusiastic crowd showed up to get a glimpse of the international stars of the sport. The teams are now off to Los Angeles. Stu Bundy, CFTO Sports.
Finally, notes tonight include the Chicago Bulls of the NBA downing the Knicks 106-93 tonight. The Bulls lead their East playoff 3-1. Detroit over Milwaukee 110-90. Pistons lead 3-1. Lakers over Seattle 97-95. They were down by 29 at halftime. The Lakers win in 4 straight. Baseball. The Toronto Maple Leafs topped London 8-1 in the inter-county opener, and Damascus won the $100,000 added Queenston Stakes at Woodbine, paid $9.10, $3, and $2.40. And I'm out of time, Bill. That's all for now.
Okay, thanks, Lance. We're back with more right after this. Still to come on Night Beat, a look at some Canadian astronauts as they prepare for their mission on a U.S. space shuttle.
One of the world's best airlines now flies regularly scheduled flights to Paris. World Air Canada.
Looking for regular scheduled flights to London that are far from regular? Then fly one of the world's best airlines, World Air Canada. Because business class or economy, it's in a class all its own.
This is a brand new shop vac that comes with a surprise.
So where's the surprise?
In a minute. First, this baby picks up stuff like nails and glass like a regular shop vac.
So where's the surprise?
And like a regular shop vac wet dry, it also picks up water.
So where's the surprise?
Just watch. You twist the top, lift it off, and you've got a portable blower. A surprisingly powerful blower.
Shop vac. If it doesn't say shop vac, keep shopping.
How can we describe New Timberwolf Falls at Canada's Wonderland? Heart-pounding, exhilarating, and very, very wet. Hurry to Shoppers Drug Mart now, and with each $5 purchase, get a $6 Wonderland savings coupon. Ride New Timberwolf Falls, only at Canada's Wonderland.
Hey, boss, I'm back from HQE again.
So what'd you find out?
We're in trouble.
Oh.
HQE has an incredible selection of computers and office equipment.
Yep, trouble.
Look at these new fax machines and these cellular and home phones. They've got more than I've ever seen in one store.
We're in trouble.
And HQE is an authorized IBM dealer. I learned a lot in one of their computer classes.
You learned something? We really are in trouble.
The best in computers and communications is at HQE. Experience the difference.
2 Canadian astronauts are in training in hopes of being the next Canadians selected to go on a U.S. shuttle flight. Details in this report.
These scientists are experiencing zero gravity in the pursuit of research. In preparation for a real space mission and weightlessness, they're simulating conditions by flying in a plane which has dropped 8,000 feet in just half a minute.
You can actually do this 20 times out on the way out from the airport and 20 times on the way back. So it's like this big roller coaster in the sky, and people are probably well aware of the nickname. It's got a vomit comet for obvious reasons.
By going up in space, scientists may be able to discover solutions to problems on Earth. This Vancouver experiment is on the technique of separating living cells. It may have application to the treatment of leukemia and other cancers. This experiment will try to discover why 70% of all astronauts experience back pain while in space.
And we hope to learn more about the biomechanics of the spine and how the spine does change. We all change in height from night to morning. We all change in spinal shape during the day. If in fact there is some involvement of the spinal cord and the spinal nerves with that change in height, then that has direct application to a number of other surgical areas where we look at function of the spinal cord.
There's a special camera the astronauts are being trained to use. Part of the mission time will be spent photographing and measuring the spine.
We were practicing the various positions to get us used to sort of what it was like to move around, to do these positions, to see how far we could have our legs being stretched and bent, and how easy it was to move from one position to the other.
Bondar is one of 4 astronauts and the only woman training for the February 1991 launch. Ken Money of Ontario is the other Canadian. There's been a lot of attention focused on NASA in recent years because of setbacks it has suffered, but Bondar is still eager to participate.
I guess my goals in the program are slightly different. It's still a lifelong goal of mine to see the stars and be close to the Earth, but it's another one now to show the international community that Canada is a very active participant and a very good participant in the space program.
Bondar and Money will find out next year if they'll be the next Canadians on an American shuttle mission to space.
Fans of Miami Vice have been snapping up all kinds of props as that series comes to a close. Mike Catrice has details on that and more on tonight's edition of the Weekend Stars.
Everyone has a different way to wind down after a hectic day. Paul Newman likes to race high-powered cars at dangerous speeds after a day on the set. Newman is in Louisiana filming the movie Blaze, and a local racetrack owner says he opened his facility for the actor 3 times last week so he could unwind by racing his car around the dirt track. The Lenin Stadium in Moscow will be the site of a special benefit concert for drug abuse programs on both sides of the Iron Curtain. American hard rock bands Bon Jovi and Motley Crue will join West Germany's Scorpions and Russia's Gorky Park on August 12th and 13th. A related studio album will be released in August. Singer Laurie Yates will join several other entertainers for a night of performances in solidarity with prisoners of conscience. The event will take place Thursday, May 18th at 9:30 at Clinton's on Bloor Street West. The event is sponsored by Amnesty International. The final Miami Vice episode was filmed April 27th, and since then, fans have rushed to North Miami warehouse to buy various props from the show, including a mock electric chair, Art Deco furniture, and hundreds of pink flamingos. The hit series began in 1984, and the last episode will air May 21st. And that's the Weekend Stars.
And that's our report for this Sunday evening. I'm Bill Hutchison for Lance Brown and the rest of the CFTO News team. Thank you and good night.
Weekday mornings at 5:30, CFTO-TV now presents Night Beat at Dawn, a timely review of topical news stories to help you begin the day informed. Night Beat at Dawn. Nissan